Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to My Hero Academia Season 3, Episode 25, the finale of the season. So yeah, we are finally here, and I almost don't want it to go. Funny thing, earlier when I was recording my reaction for Disenchantment, I actually completely forgot I had to do this today. So it's like, I'm thinking like, okay, when I get home from the bar, I'm going to record Inuyashiki for tomorrow, since we're doing the mega stream tomorrow and I won't be able to record it then. I completely forgot until I was at the bar that My Hero, I had to get to the final episode of that too. So we're doing this as well. I should be getting to Inuyashiki, recording it after this, but you'll probably see it whenever. Sometime on Friday. So yeah, you may be wondering why we are in my bedroom instead of the living room where I normally record. Well, it's because of the time we're recording at and everything. It's about 10:30 now. And the thing is, I don't know when my father's going to get home, and he's going to be out in the living room watching stuff, presumably. So yeah, just don't want to start anything there. Don't want to like cause any trouble or whatnot. So I'm just in here for tonight. It's not going to be too common, so don't expect this too often. But for those of you who are newer to the channel, yeah, this is my bedroom. I'm sitting in my chair. You see my pony movie pillow. I could even show you look around. It's kind of a disaster right now, but yeah, not too much I can do about that. I have too much stuff, and there's too little room in here. But here. But yeah, so for all of you who have never seen this before, like, I have a couch instead of a bed, like over here. You see my Pinky Dakimakura and stuff. I have all these posters and whatnot from different fandoms and all. Over there's my desk. All kinds of stuff on there. Over there, that's the door to enter. You have this bookshelf, which has a bunch of stuff on it as well. And my dresser over here. So, yeah. Eee. And back to me. So, yeah, for those of you who have not seen this before, yeah. Also, it went really fuzzy there. I apologize. Let's just fix this. But, yeah, we are on the final episode of Season 3 of My Hero Academia. And, hold on, there we go. And I kind of just don't want to finish the season, you know? So last episode, we were kind of winding down off of everything, and we were introduced to the big three. Three new characters, kind of an odd place to introduce them. But there are these big three characters who are probably going to be more important and have a more focused role in Season 4, whenever that ends up coming. I don't remember if their names were mentioned, but we saw the quirk of at least one of them. The guy who kind of looks like Tintin, his quirk apparently, we don't know the full detail behind it, but he seems to be able to like phase himself through solid matter. That's all I could think of what it would be. He's interesting so far from the little we've seen of him. I know he's really popular. I do know that. I'm interested to see what they do with him. We also saw a new villain. Again, I don't know the name, but he has that like Plague Doctor Beak mask. And he's apparently really popular too, though I guess some people are really like not liking how he looks in the anime. I think I talked about that last time. I'm not going to get into it here, but yeah, there's just like, I think it looks fine. I've seen what he looks like in the manga scans and everything. I think it looks fine. People are just being way too nitpicky and silly, like people tend to do. So this is the final episode. I presume we're going to get something with the big three. We're probably going to get to know them and see their powers a little bit. But I'm kind of iffy on them doing this late into the season at the very end. Maybe they should have saved this for the beginning of season 4. I just feel like trying to put this in at the very end of season 3, it just feels like it's starting something, but that we're not going to get to see continued for possibly close to a year. So it's just like, I don't know, it feels like it's a bit of a tease. And don't get me wrong, I've said before that I like it when they leave things off on cliffhangers, any show that is, and I stand by that. I enjoy cliffhangers. But there's a difference between leaving something off on a cliffhanger and seemingly starting something new only to just randomly stop it, like, at the very end of a season. It just seems like it's, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it was necessary. I feel they should have waited until last season. Maybe maybe they should have enhanced some of the episodes, or enhanced some of the stuff that happened in these recent episodes to cover a couple more things. Or just ended it at 23. Or heck, maybe ending after last episode, after 24, like with just like showing them. But it's like in this episode, they've got to be doing something with them. And it's just, I don't know, it just feels like they're doing, if you ended with just them being shown and just them being introduced, like this is the big three, and then it ends like that, and it's like, that would be a way to do it. But having a whole nother episode after, I don't know. I just don't feel like that's the best idea. But maybe that's just me. I don't know where this next arc's going to go, so I can't say fully if it's going to feel like it left off really randomly. And I don't even know what this next episode's going to contain. But we're going to find out. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. See you there. Okay, and we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, the first thing is about, I still feel like this just kind of felt like it was forced in at the end. Like it was just like, oh, we have to push this in real quick before the finale of the season, and it's just like, it feels like it almost feels like it was, I don't know, not rushed, that's the wrong way to put it. It feels like it was just, again, forced in just for the sake of getting it in there, and I just feel like they really didn't need to do that. They could have put this in at the beginning of season 4. There's nothing really about it that made me think that, yeah, this had to have happened now. I get maybe that they wanted to just get Togata and the others introduced. But still, I just feel like it was just rushed in, almost. Like it was like forced just for the sake of having it, rather than for the sake of like a good way to end things. Now, the part at the end there with the villains, with Twice bringing I already forgot his name, the Birdbeak guy, to the rest of the group, that was a good way to have the finale end off on. That was a good note to end it off. And the show's done that before with previous seasons, having a big thing with the villains getting ready for their next move, and that's fine, and that's all good. But I feel like they still could have put that in without having to have all the stuff with Togata and all. I admit, I don't get me wrong. I liked the stuff with Togata. I liked how it showed how he's made his quirk like as powerful as it is, to the point where he's the closest hero out there to being the number one, even above all the other pros, and he's just a student still. I like how he was able to take on all of Class 1A by himself, and just take them out before they had a chance to do pretty much anything. I like his personality, but all in all, it just, again, it just felt like it didn't feel like an end of the season kind of thing. It felt like it should be more like during a season or at the beginning of one. And it just feels like it was forced in. The other two characters, the other two members of the Big Three, we didn't get a lot with them. I don't even remember their names. The girl, we don't know pretty much anything about her, other than her personality, and kind of the same thing with the guy. The other guy, he's shy and has trouble talking to people face to face, to the point where he tries to imagine them as potatoes in order to try and gain the courage to be able to speak in front of them. While the girl is just like a million miles a minute. And Togata is definitely more along the lines of the girl. He's definitely more hyper and eccentric and stuff. In fact, it almost kind of feels like they're a little too similar. I'm certain that they're going to differentiate the two in the future, but right now it almost kind of just feels like they're too similar in their personalities. The other guy at least stands out a lot more. Now, I know Togata is one of the most popular characters in My Hero Academia. He's extremely popular. I've heard people talking about him all the time. I know that people are excited that he's finally in the show. So I know he's a really popular big deal. And I can kind of see why, with his quirk being what it is. But I just feel like they need to... They need to do a little more with him before I'm completely sold. He wouldn't even be in my top 10 favorite characters as of yet. None of the Big Three would be. And honestly, I think that's a good thing. I mean, he was just introduced. He's been in 2 episodes. He shouldn't be in favorite characters yet. Especially after 3 seasons and we have all these other characters we already love. They're definitely going to have to do something more with him. I know there's a couple people I follow on Twitter who say that he's like their favorite character of all of My Hero Academia, and it's like, that just seems like a very tall claim at this point for me. And again, they are manga readers. They know where this is going. They know more about his character. So they have possibly reason to say that. But as of now, like, I just don't see it yet. Again, I see why he's popular, but I can't see why he's like a top character as of yet. His quirk is really interesting, and I like that it has a legitimately big downfall. The fact that when he like phases through something, it's like it affects everything. Because he's basically turning invisible, his lungs aren't able to take in air. I think he said that he can't see, he can't smell, he can't feel. He basically loses all of his senses. He loses the ability to breathe. He loses pretty much everything except his, like, obviously ability to think and process information. So he has to plan things out so far in advance when he's using his abilities. He mentioned how he goes through walls using only using his power in certain parts of his body at a time, while leaving other parts, like, having it turned off so he can still, like, interact with something enough. But it's like, think about it. Like, when he phases through the ground and stuff, like, he's completely void of feeling, completely void of sensory well, just senses. So it's insane to think about that he has to have everything planned out before he uses his ability. Because when he uses it like that, he has to know exactly where he's going to fall. He has to know the direction he's going to fall and how he's going to shoot back up when he turns his ability off. He has to have all that planned out before he uses it, including how long he's going to have it turned on. His quirk alone, just the concept of it, is actually really cool. I like the idea of it, and I like how complicated it is, like I said. It's just really... Like, we've had a lot of quirks in this show by this point, and a lot of them are a little more simple. You have ones like even Shigaraki's, who it's just like, oh, if he closes all his fingers around something, it rusts, it dissolves, it rots away. You have Sue's. She's a frog. She does everything like a frog can and stuff like that. Todoroki, he can control, manipulates, and create fire and ice from his body. And it's stuff like that. It's like, they're pretty fairly simple. Even some of the more complicated ones, like One for All, is not that complicated when you think about it. It's actually pretty easy to understand. Togata's, I think, is the first quirk that is like really complex and involves a lot to be able to use. And he said it himself. He was at the bottom. He was at the bottom of the hero pool, as a way to put it. The only reason he became one of the big three is because he worked extremely hard to make that quirk valuable, to perfect it, to use it in a way that allows him to be the best. It's insane to think about. It's insane just after seeing everything he did to think that he was once at the bottom. And it kind of, it explains why, like, it was mentioned by Deku that this guy didn't really perform well at the sports festival. Because at that point he had yet to really truly master his quirk, it seems. But in that time, in like just over a year's time, basically, look how far he's come. That's real dedication. And yeah, it's really cool. So I do see the appeal in Togata. I do see it. But again, I just don't see him being a top character as of yet. There has to be a lot more to him, I feel. And again, I do believe there will be. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below what you thought of Mirio Togata. I think that was the full name. Tell me what you thought of him, what you thought of his quirk, and what you thought of just the power difference there is. How he is not only the best student at UA, but he's the closest out there to being the #1 hero, even more so than all the other pro heroes. More so than even Endeavor. That's insane. Tell me what you think of that and everything else from this episode. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles, shed tears along the way, you're still standing, live